Hello, everyone. I just finished and convened a meeting with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency, the OPP, CBSA, to understand what we need to do as a country to tighten our borders. They were very clear on what their needs are, and there's many needs, and that's what we're going to talk to the Prime Minister about and all the premiers. And we have to take the threat seriously from President Trump. When he says we need to tighten up the border, we need to tighten up the border. We need to tighten up the border on both sides, and the federal government needs to have a plan. We don't need a plan a month down the road. We need a plan now. So we're going to make sure that we all work collaboratively together. As the province of Ontario, we'll do whatever it takes to help CBSA, help the RCMP, but we need a plan across the border. What I'm hearing, the federal government needs to put more resources into the RCMP, more resources into CBSA, and I'll give you one example. As Ontario is recruiting over 2,000 and growing police officers every single year coming out of the police college, the entire country, the RCMP, only have the funding for 1,200. That system is broken, and you can't borrow off Paul to pay Peter and bring RCMP officers from other parts of the country to go down to the border. There's been a lack of funding, and we're going to make sure that the funding is appropriate, I should say. But again, we can't ignore what President Trump said the other day regarding the tariffs, and we need a lot of work to be done on borders right across the province there and the country.
Sorry, Kermit.
Yeah.
Was there any specific ask from the OPP that you can clue us in on?
Well, they're just saying here, we're here to help. That's not our jurisdiction, the border. But if we can partner up with the RCMP and CBSA, for instance, on the water, be it Lake Ontario or other jurisdictions that fall under Ontario, we'll be there to support them. But it's not just Ontario, it's across the entire border, and we need to tighten that up.
Right. Did you have any concerns that the premiers aren't all speaking with one voice? I know there was one premier yesterday saying that maybe there shouldn't be retaliatory tariffs if necessary, and you were saying there should be. So is that a problem?
No, I don't think so. Everyone has their point of view, and this is the reason for the meeting. It's going to be our first meeting with the Prime Minister in years, which is unusual. But we're going to make sure that we all sing from the same song sheet. And I never heard that. I've talked to quite a few premiers, but we're going to make sure that we do retaliate. That's the only option. If they start putting 25% tariffs on the backs of Canadians and businesses, we do $1.2 trillion a two-way trade with the United States. Ontario alone is $500 billion. And we can't sit back if they're going to put tariffs on 25% of the goods crossing the border. We need to go back and put 25% tariffs. But let's hope that never happens. There's no reason for that to happen. We have a great relationship with our American counterparts south of the border, and we'd rather work with them rather than against them. And I've mentioned that the last couple times I've come out. We need to be united with the U.S. We need to be united across the country and really take a Team Canada approach to this.
You mentioned police. Are you also calling for more funding for the border guards? They've
absolutely
made some cuts in recent years.
They have, and I heard that.
Number on that?
I don't have a number on the CBSA, but they're starving. The RCMP is starving, and we need to encourage the federal government to at least hit the quota that we have. Again, 1,200 new RCMP officers are hired right across the entire country. Here in Ontario, over 2,000 police officers and growing every single year come out of our police colleges.
Last question.
Premier, what's the DEA telling you?
Well, we need to tighten up the border. Let's call them ingredients to make fentanyl are coming across the border. They did a massive bust in BC with the RCMP and the DEA. They work jointly together, but we have to continue working together. And we have to tighten up our borders right across the board, on both sides, by the way. We know And Canadians know that drugs are coming across the border into Canada. We know illegals are coming across the border from the U.S. We also know that over 90% of the guns that are seized by the police are coming from the U.S. So it's not here to point fingers either or. This is the time to work together to tighten up our borders.
Thank you. That was the last
You have a lot
question.
of conversations privately with both Chrysler Freeland and the Prime Minister. Is it your understanding that they have a strategy in place, or is this meeting to develop the strategy to deal with the United States?
Well, I never heard anything about a strategy, and personally, maybe they do. I don't believe they do. So we need to put one together, and that's not a problem. If they don't, let's work together. Let's get all the police services across the country to work hand in hand. And for instance, when there's a big bust and they send the fentanyl to Health Canada, would you believe that Health Canada will not share where the ingredients to make this fentanyl are coming from? They aren't sharing it with any of the police services, which is staggering to find out. Is it coming from China? Is it coming from Mexico? Is it coming from the U.S.? Which we need to change. The communication has to improve amongst all agencies and make sure that we share that information. But for Health Canada not to do that is pretty incredible. DEA has offered Ontario to send it down to their lab in Virginia to do an investigation and find out where the ingredients for fentanyl are coming from. That is absolutely critical. But isn't it a shame that we have to rely on the DEA in Virginia to look into where the fentanyl is coming from and all the chemicals that are made to make fentanyl are coming from? We need to be able to do it ourselves, but in the meantime, we'll rely on the U.S. DEA. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last question. Thank you.
I'll be back with you when I come in.
Thank you.